Do you miss the old days of League of Legends? Well, you can now relive those magic moments by downloading its downsized version Wild Rift right on your mobile phone. This game will bring back old friendships, create new reasons to hate random people, and will surely be a lot of fun. Wild Rift, while it may be treated as a port from PC, it really isn't. Riot has done their best to adjust things in order to make the game its own thing, and I have to admit the result is a really enjoyable experience. The game is the same old story of 5 players going against other 5 players, farming, buying items to help in the battle, working and fighting together in order to destroy the nexus in the other side of the map. Sounds easy, but once you are actually playing, things get a bit more complicated. Wild Rift does a great job at simplifying the experience you can find on PC by tweaking things and in some cases having its own way of doing stuff. It definitely requires more focus and knowledge than Mobile Legends, for example, as you have to place your wards for vision, time your item purchasing well, that only if you really avoid dying, focus on the jungle because the buffs can make the difference, and learn your roles properly. The game teaches you how to play with tutorials and it rewards you for completing them, just in case you need any extra motivation to learn. Because it is a MOBA, you can find various characters to play with, each having its own set of skills which have their own learning curve. The difficulty also varies from champion to champion, but at least you get a few for free once you complete the tutorials and some of the in-game events. The end goal of this game is to raise up in the rankings and claim the highest position you can for rewards and recognition. I would say it's best if you stick to the normal games until you are about level 15 or 20, because it is important for the whole community that you actually understand what you have to do. When it comes to matchmaking, I personally didn't find many hiccups, with waiting time averaging 10 seconds and luck being close to inexistent. This may vary on your location though, as well as the players you might end up with in your team. In 50 plus games I had no AFK players in my team, and even though at times I had poor teammates, the game environment seems decent. I feel like Riot did an amazing job with this game, as even if it's still technically beta, I didn't find many glitches besides the volume bug that seems to be fixed now, and the overall experience is smooth and satisfying. Some of you might be wondering which are the differences between the mobile version and the PC version. For the ones of you that never played League of Legends, you can skip this part. Let's start with item changes. We have changes regarding the actives of the items. These have been removed from the items, but you can attach only one of your choice to the boots for an extra of 500 gold. You don't get the full stats of the item, just the active, and this makes for a hard choice depending on the champion, but definitely opens up more possibilities. The rune system has been completely changed. You can choose between a few different ones, but that is more streamlined and makes Wild Rift stand out a bit on uniqueness compared to the bigger brother. Some of the champions have had their abilities tweaked in order to fit the mobile format and make it easier for the players to cast them. Also, the ability scaling and stats have been adjusted here and there to fit the quicker pace that Wild Rift has compared to PC. Same as with the abilities, the farm had to be tweaked for speed. Minions give gold even if you don't last hit, and the amount is higher. You can expect melee minions to give you 65 gold, casters 40 gold, and cannon ones 85. As for the ones you miss, you will only get 24 gold. No inhibitor. This is a common practice among all mobile games. It helps speeding up the game as well. If you ask me, from a design perspective, it feels like Riot really did their best when coming up with the skins, the animations and the overall looks of the champions. The champion roster is quite thin right now if we compare it to other competition offers. About 40 champions at the moment of recording this video compared to the 80 plus of what the other MOBAs have. You can't have high expectations though, as Wild Rift is really young compared to the other ones. In my opinion, your choice depends on what you enjoy playing. I would say start with the role in mind when picking a champion, as sticking to your role is extremely important in this game. The roles you can choose from are tank, fighter, mage, assassin, support and marksman. Tanks are the ones that are really hard to kill and are meant to use crowd control to initiate a fight. They tend to build a lot of resistance and need to learn when it's best to initiate a team fight and how they can help their teammates finish the enemy team. While it might sound easy, the story is different when you get to play. Might not be as fun as a champion that deals damage, but having a tank in the team is a must. Fighters are less tanky with higher damage, more like an overall choice compared to the other roles. They have less resistance than the tanks but deal more damage and can also have skills with crowd control, like stuns, slows and so on. Mages are mostly meant to deal high damage through their skills but are generally easy to kill. Assassins use their skills to deal tons of burst damage but are squishy and are way harder to play, as you need to be very careful when initiating an attack. They are really strong 1 versus 1, but in team fights, positioning and timing are key. Supports, as the name suggests, they are meant to help their teammates with buffs, heals and crowd control. They don't deal that much damage, but their help comes in various ways. The marksman role is often misunderstood, as people tend to choose them because they look cool or because they don't have to get that close to a champion to deal damage. The marksman is meant to deal the damage but also stay alive to deal as much of it as possible. It might seem easy to get kills with them early on, but as you progress you will find out that things are a bit more different. You have to position yourself well and make sure you choose the right targets to attack. I have a few champion suggestions for the ones of you that only just started playing, and those would be Garen, fighter tank. His abilities are some of the most straightforward ones, helping him to deal with 1 versus 1 easy as well as with team fights. Garen's Perseverance, his passive, gives him decent health regeneration, allowing him to retreat without going back to the base. The passive works well with Decisive Strike and Judgment, as they give him a speed boost as well as decent attacks. Meanwhile, he also comes with Courage, which gives him decent damage reduction and crowd control resistance. Lastly, his Demacian Justice. His ultimate deals massive AoE damage to enemies. Her Frost Shot, that's her passive, enables her to focus on slow effects, with her criticals becoming more powerful slows. Meanwhile, her Hawkshot, the third skills, allow her to use Hawk Spirit to scout them up for targets. Ashe gets focus whenever she attacks, and she can use Ranger's Focus, her first skill, to use that focus to get an attack speed boost and create flurries instead of single arrow basic attacks. Her Volley, the second skill, also fires arrows in a cone that applies her passive. Lastly, her ultimate, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, is a nice arrow that you can guide, and it stuns champions for longer periods the further it's traveled on the map, alongside dealing AoE to surrounding enemies. Seraphine, support. Her stage presence, the passive, enables her to cast her third spell twice while granting nodes to allies. The more nodes her allies have, the stronger Seraphine's basic attacks become. Her high note, the first skill, is an AoE that deals more damage when enemies have less health. Meanwhile, her Pit Drop, the third skill, focuses on slowing, rooting and stunning enemies. Additionally, her Surround Sound, the second skill, shields allies and gives them movement speed as well as healing. Lastly, the ultimate damages and slows enemies on a line that extends if it touches an enemy champion or other allies. Annie, Mage. Her Pyromania, the passive, gives her a free stun if she casts an offensive spell after casting 4 spells. This ability works in tandem with Disintegrate, the first skill, as it lets Annie summon a fireball that refunds the mana and cooldown if the attack kills the target. Meanwhile, Incinerate, the second skill, unleashes a fire cone that deals AoE. She also has defensive abilities such as Molten Shield, the third skill, which enables her to cast a shield that absorbs damage and deals damage to the shield's attackers. Lastly, her summon, Tibbers, the ultimate, enables Annie to have a backup in the form of Tibbers, her teddy bear. Master E, Assassin. His double strike, the passive, enables him to strike twice in some of his basic attacks. Depending on your item choice, Master E's Wuju style, the third skill, gives a true damage bonus on basic attacks that combined with double strike can deal devastating damage without using skills. Alpha Strike, the first skill, enables Master Yi to attack multiple units within a target path without being targetable himself. His basics also reduce the first skill's cooldown. Additionally, Meditate, the second skill, grants him healing and damage reduction. Lastly, Highlander, his ultimate, not only boosts his movement and attack speed but makes him immune to slow as well. I would like to start with understanding your position. Your positioning in this game is crucial to winning the game, and you should learn where each kind of champion fits best. I mean, we all want to win in the end, nobody plays to lose, right? When choosing a marksman, look for the duo arrow when starting the game, as that is the lane where you should go. Might be a bit confusing since the lanes swap here, so one game might have to go on top, another you will have to go to the bottom, but just follow the arrows. Tanks and fighters usually go to the solo lane, which, as in the case of the marksman, could be either top or bottom. The middle lane is more often than not for mages, especially early on, but there could be also assassins or fighter playing there. When choosing the jungle, make sure you also help your teammates by ganking. Keep an eye on the map and see when the enemy champions are closer to your turret, and then approach them from behind and try to get a kill or an assist. Also, jungling means killing the Rift Herald and the Dragon, don't just focus on getting the buffs. You win this game by destroying the enemy turrets and nexus, not by having the highest amount of kills. Kills are useless if you lose the game, try to focus on winning as a team. When going back to buy items, make sure you push the lane in order to protect your turrets. While it is true you get gold here by not last hitting the minions, make sure you do, as it helps you gain gold quicker and build your items faster, which in the long term helps you deal more damage and win the game. Communication is really important in this game, as it is a team game. Start in the picking menu, communicate with your team. See who's best at what and how you can all compromise in order to have the best team possible. It doesn't help anyone if there are 3 marksmen in the team. Also, while in game, use pings to let your teammates know when they are in danger, when they should push, and so on. Playing on your own will never win you the game. That was it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you really like what I'm doing, please subscribe, comment, and maybe share it with a friend.